Hey guys, it is Halloween, and I'd be lying if I said I was excited about Halloween. I don't really like Halloween. But I was sitting and praying on something, and Pastor Marcus, if you know who he is, in our local, challenged people on Halloween, challenged Christians, I should say, on Halloween, to share something about the gospel. And so I thought about this, prayed about it all week, and felt called to talk about the woman at the well. If you don't know the woman at the well, I was going to read a little synopsis. It's in the Gospel of John. It's where Jesus speaks to a Samaritan woman at Jacob's well, revealing to her that he's the Messiah. The unnamed woman was ostracized by her community, and the story is significant as it highlights Jesus' message of salvation for all people. And she goes and tells the townspeople about Jesus and leading many people to then know Jesus. And this is very significant because the woman was at the well in the middle of the day when people normally went to the well in the morning because she was full of shame. She had had 5 husbands, and Samaritans and Jews couldn't talk, especially a Jewish man speaking to a Samaritan woman. So there's just a lot of deep-rooted kind of things in this conversation that are deeper than the surface. But I wanted to share, like, Jesus knew she was there. He knew that she was unclean to the world. But that's what Jesus does. He leaves the 99 to go after the one. And when he starts to talk to her and ask her for a drink at the well, she immediately is defensive and kind of like argumentative. Like, don't talk to me. You're a Jew. You're not supposed to talk to me. And I'm sure she'd been hurt. If she had 5 husbands and was living with another man, like, I'm sure she didn't like men. And I'm sure she thought, like, you're going to be manipulative and twist things and hurt me just like everybody else. Like, don't talk to me. But she wasn't hurt enough to not hear the truth. He started to talk to her. He said, instead of having this like water that you're, sorry, the dog's back there. But the water that you're getting out of this well, like, have you ever thought about living water? And she's like, wait, what's this living water you speak about? So even though she was broken, she still was holding on to hope. And I think that that's a lot of us. He explains like physical thirst and water to this eternal living water. And I almost could see, like, she felt unworthy of that. She was carrying shame. She, was a lot like a lot of us women. Like, I'm the woman at the well. I've had husbands. I carried that shame for a very long time. I've had to do some really deep internal healing to free myself of that. And I see the woman in the well carrying the shame that a lot of us women carry today, like unspoken judgment, being a single mom with a different last name of your son, which, praise Jesus, like, I'm no longer a single mom. So very thankful for that. But we allow that hurt and trauma to make us stay in that victim mindset and sit in our mess and our shame. And that's like Jesus was calling her out of that. So I could almost see, like, as she was sitting there internalizing, like, oh, this living water, like, that sounds great. She then was crushed with her shame and the baggage, but Jesus knew it and he beat her to it. And he says, like, yeah, woman of 5 husbands and living with a new dude. That's Sarah speak. But like, God is omniscient. Yeah. He knows everything. He knew her shame. He knew the shame that she carried. He knew her sins. He knew all about it, but he was telling her and trying to get her to leave the past. And that's what I would say. Like, so many of us are still living in our hurt. Like, God doesn't want us to live in our hurt. And if you know the people in your life that remember everything from a million years ago and live in that, they're miserable. They're not happy. And that's what he's calling her to do in this. And like, she did. She chose to believe and said, like, you're the Messiah. Like, you're the one that has said is going to come. And in that moment, I can see her like shedding that shame and shedding that darkness, and being brought into the light. And that's like what we're all supposed to do. None of us are too far gone. None of us are worthy or deserving of his love and grace, but like, he gives it freely. So she shed that. She kind of walked into it. And I don't think it's happenstance that the first evangelist in the Bible recorded is a broken woman. Like, I get cold chills when I say that because, Jesus knew she was going to be at the well. He knew who was there. God doesn't make mistakes. And, I think it's really encouraging to look at this and just think to myself, like, I'm so glad I left my hurt. I'm so glad I left that shame and believe him to be who he says he is. And like, I'm the woman at the well. Like, you know, I had to leave that stagnant water that was really just drowning me, and I was living in that muck, to then go and have his eternal living water, and choose that light. So today is one of the darkest days of the year as far as in the spiritual world. So I just felt like I needed to do this and wanted to call it out, that like, choose Jesus. The blessings and joy that I have had in my life since shedding that shame it's Ephesians 3:20. It's more than I could ever ask or imagine. So have a blessed day. Love you. And tomorrow's a new month.